This is WARBIRD Radio.
Welcome back to WARBIRD Radio. This is episode 3 of our 2026 season. I'm Matt Jolly. It's been great being here with you for 17 years. Kristen Scheich, we've not had on the show, I'm sad to say, until now, is the new, well, on this show, she's still new, the new executive director of EAA WARBIRD. Welcome.
Thank you.
Glad to have you here. How did you get into this? Because, Bill Fisher was a reenactor guy and that was obsessed with this stuff. You, on the other hand, you come to EAA, you're going to work there just a few months or whatever it is, and then you're going to go on and do something else. But that didn't happen.
No, it didn't.
You fell in love.
Yeah. I was only supposed to work 6 months. It was supposed to be an internship. And
here you are.
And here I am 24 years later.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. It's been a great time, though. Working my way up, started, doing warehouse duties and, was in the purchasing department. And then after that, I did a whole bunch with promotion and design and a whole bunch of other stuff. And then was the administrative assistant for WARBIRDs, and then here I am.
Here you are. You worked with Bill. You had to keep him straight.
Yeah.
Had to keep him out of all those reenactor costumes and keep him in the office every once in a while.
Right.
Yeah, so you kind of grew up in the business. That's what I think is so cool. What did you dream of doing as a young child? What was that dream?
I wanted to be a teacher.
Yeah?
Yeah, I wanted to be a teacher, but that was why I only wanted the 6-month internship, because I wanted to go back to school.
Yeah.
That didn't happen.
Yeah, you fell in love with this stuff, and in a way, you are a teacher today. You're helping to keep not only the airplanes in the air, but also these stories, and teach these stories to so many other people. What is something that stands out about your job that most people don't realize?
I think it's the friendships you make. A lot of times people think that this is just a job or just, it just something to get you paid or whatever. Yeah. But this is so much more. It's a family. It's the camaraderie. It's everything that maybe being a teacher would have been, but more. Yeah.
And if you're a member of EAA WARBIRDs of America, which is a huge organization, that not only is an advocacy group, but it's also a group that truly, at the heart of the mission, is safety.
Yes.
You're the person that kind of pulls all of these cords and fibers together, makes the rope that is the organization that we see, the public-facing side. There's a board that you work with, and of course there's a publication. But walk us through your day-to-day.
I mean, every day is different. You never know what you're going to walk into. Some days you walk in and you know exactly what you're going to do. You're going to check your email and you're going to do this project, or you're going to, go to a meeting or whatever. But then some days they're just crazy because, you walk in and you get members calling about, parking their plane in WARBIRDs, and can I camp there, and
for the convention, right?
For the convention, yeah.
Which is a huge part of what you do every day.
Yeah. And the entire year, that's what we work for, and we have the programs that we do for the WARBIRD pilots. So, there's a lot of that goes on a daily basis, and all of the members, though, the membership stuff is a lot of the work. Yeah,
and it keeps you busy. Do you have any desire? Are you flying these days at all?
I'd love to. Yeah.
That guy Mike, you hang around sometimes. He's a pilot. Military guy and a pilot guy, and I'm sure there's some suggestions somewhere that. But I get it. That desire's there.
I've always wanted to fly, but I did start at one point in time. I did the ground school, had a few hours, and it just wasn't at the right time.
Yeah, I was talking to a guy that builds pianos. He's a master piano builder, and I said, "Do you play?" And he looks right at me and he goes, "Liberace didn't build the things." And that's so true, right? You're
Right.
on this association side, of the management side of it, and the executive director side. And I think it's so wonderful that you have the passion and the desire and the love of this history, but that we have a real pro in the seat who's driving the bus, where we need a real pro.
Right.
And that's wonderful. The
Yeah.
board is made up of a lot of aviators. That has to be challenging at times. Have you found it rewarding or challenging? I can't. You probably can't say that here on the show.
It's a little bit of
How
both.
are your bosses, Kristen? Right.
It's a little bit of both, because there's all of the different personalities,
Yeah.
and
You gotta learn how to work with everybody.
exactly. And, working with one person is different than working with the other person. And, you just got to try and find your niche with each
Yeah.
person.
What do you need from members? Let's just go there as we wrap things up here. What do you need from your membership? What do you wish you had? Is there something that you're like, oh, I wish we had more volunteers for this, or I wish we had some member input on this? Is there anything that you'd like to get out there?
I would love for more of our members to start squadrons.
Yeah, there's
throughout-
one in Georgia.
Yep.
That Steve Seal runs.
Yep.
Yeah, not far from me. Okay.
And I run one in Oshkosh, and there's 12 throughout the United States and one in Buenos Aires. So I would love for us to have, by the end of the year, I'd love to have at least 4 to 6 more.
So what do we have to do?
All you got to do is give me a call.
Yeah.
I'll send the person all of the information that they need to form a squadron. All you need is 5 people.
I'm looking over here because, that guy right over there, Mark Weinstein, he is our vice president of Chapter 976. I'm a board member, and our president, Austin's running around here somewhere. Could we have a Warbird squadron in conjunction with our regular EAA chapter hangar?
Absolutely.
Really? So now we could have 2 for the price of 1, so to speak.
Absolutely.
You could be housed in the same location.
Right.
Well, I think we should just have a board meeting right here and make this happen. So that's kind of cool, because then you could have a Warbird squadron in addition to
an EAA chapter.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I'm liking what you're putting down here. And we need more of these, because that's where all of the information is disseminated, is it not?
It is.
Yeah.
Our up in Oshkosh, our squadron has 2 pilots, but no one flies a Warbird. So our meetings are usually historians or people that tell great stories. We've had, veterans. We do pancake breakfast. We do fly-ins. We do fly-outs. We do a whole bunch of stuff.
Chris Henry just whips out his phone and calls somebody up and says, hey, here it is.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you're so it's so wonderful to be up there. How is it this time of year in Oshkosh? Give us, because we all, it's Brigadoon, right? It comes out of the fog in the summer, and it's this magical place, and we all love it. And then as quickly as it's there, it vanishes, and it's like the planet Hoth or something up there. It's just so cold and barren. Is that what it really is? Or are you lying to us, and it's like that all year, like it is in the summer?
No. It is. It's literally, it's funny because, most people see everything set up and all everything. They don't see the vehicles that are in the forum buildings or the tables that are stacked up, 20 feet high or anything like that. It is a barren wasteland.
And
kinda.
the army of volunteers show up.
Yes.
That make it part of the fabric of that wonderful event that we all love.
Right. Warbirds has 720 volunteers.
Yeah. That are all there.
Yeah.
Any words of wisdom for the first timer that's listening to this, thinking, this is the year, I'm going to go to the convention, I'm going to go join a chapter in a Warbird hangar, and I'm going to go.
I honestly, do it. Just go. Don't put any thought into it except for making sure that you have some sort of housing or something like that.
Don't call Kristen last
Don't
minute.
Don't call me. Yeah.
And say, how do I put my tent up here?
Yeah. But
you do have tent camping down at Warbirds.
Oh, we have tent camping. We got RV camping.
Is it accessible? Like, can people still get in on that, or is it like you got to know?
Tent camping, we sell that on a first come first serve, and we never sell out.
Yeah.
RV camping, we pre-register those.
Right.
And Those usually sell out within 5 minutes of opening day.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. So,
All right, got to get on the list.
Yeah.
Got to get on the list. Got to hurry up. But you can always fly in and camp under your wing, even in Warbirds. I guess you could do it.
Not in
You can
Warbirds.
camp in the campground.
In the campground. You can camp in the campground. But, yeah, we don't allow to camp under the wing in Warbirds.
Yeah, but you can camp under the, not far from your wing.
Not far, yeah.
It's right there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's been fun hanging out with you.
Yeah.
Because every time we try to meet up at AirVenture, it's you're pulling your hair out. You're running around.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But you're this voice of calm.
Well,
Kristen is always calm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I try to be.
24 years on the ground, you got it figured out.
Yeah, but there's always new stuff coming up.
And it's the best 40 or so bucks you'll ever spend being a Warbird member. You get a great magazine. You get the pride of knowing that you're furthering this institution along. And I'm telling you, the magazine alone is worth the price.
It is. It's a beautiful publication.
All right. And so we're going to try to create a chapter, a hangar.
Yes.
A Warbird hangar. I think we got to do that. Then we could have 2 in Georgia. There'd only be 2, right?
Right.
Oh, all right.
I love it.
I like where this is going. Kristen, thanks for hanging out with us today. It's been fun.
Yes.
All right, we'll be back with more on episode 3 here of Warbird Radio right after this.
Reminding you that radio engines don't leak oil. They just mark their territory. This is Warbird Radio. Tune in. Take off. This is Warbird Radio.
Welcome back to Warbird Radio. We're talking now with Sean Elliott. He's vice president at EAA, and the title has changed over the years. Sean, is it industry and regulatory affairs, or
it's,
no? Now it's
now advocacy and safety. So what that means is my line of business with an EAA rolls together and connects the dots for both all of the flight operations of EAA, all the safety elements of EAA, the aviation safety elements, and then all of the government advocacy. And actually, that's the way Paul Poresny started it.
Right.
When you go back in EA's history, Jerry Walburn, who's a very well-known Warbird figure, and certainly Paul before him, they had oversight and their fingers on the pulse of both the advocacy work for the organization as well as the flight ops side. So it's kind of neat to see that come back around full.
You get it. You're a B-29 guy. You're a Warbird guy through and through. You're a GA guy. I see you at air shows flying this stuff. You understand this at a level that most people in your position don't.
Well, thank you, Matt. It's near and dear to my heart.
And I've got this rifle right down here for you.
Make sure it's got the loop.
Right.
So
I'm ready,
the
Sean.
rifleman spin.
That's right. I'm ready for you.
Well, it's such a special world. Like what we have in general aviation today, across the spectrum, all elements and all aspects of GA, there's nowhere else in the world that has it.
Yeah.
So we're stewards of it, and it's our job and our responsibility to hang on to it and to protect it and to keep it viable for the next generation. Because if we lose it, we won't ever get it back.
Where are we with that in relation to, I know the findings, we heard Sam Graves speak in the morning, first morning of NWOC here, the National Warbird Operators Conference, and it sounds like there's some more emotional legislation coming with ADSB, but where are we in relation to, now we have privatized companies coming, I know EAA has been doing a ton of work on that. Where are we with that?
Well, there's always threats on the horizon. There's always looming threats and things that could be bad for GA. So that's our job, is to identify them, track them, and ultimately dismantle them so that they don't pose a threat or they don't cause harm with the ultimate whatever becomes implemented out of that initial concept or that initial aspect. ATC privatization is something that we're always on guard for. There's nothing immediately on the horizon for that, but certainly it's something we watch carefully. That would be very bad in multiple respects. The FAA is an organization. There's good news stories out of that, and there's bad news stories out of that. And we work very closely with them. Our philosophy that was set by Paul decades ago was you'll get more done if you sit down with the regulators, roll up your sleeves, and help them and work together with them on solving problems and coming up with benefits. That's how we got Mosaic.
Yeah.
Mosaic is a shining example of if you do good work together and you bring the subject matter expertise and you work in collaboration, ultimately you come out with a good product. You just have to, and it takes time. Rulemaking and changes like that.
And administrative changes, and I get that. I mean,
exactly.
That's a big part of it.
Exactly. So, it does work. It can work. But we have spent a lot of decades taking that approach, and we've had some successes because of it.
But you know what? Pilots are cheap. And I mean, the Experimental Aircraft Association, which I love. I think I'm a member of not only Warbirds, but Vintage and everything else. A true believer. Sean, I hear the bells at Christmas still. I'm right there. But this has to be difficult because when you're talking about a group, especially the group that is right true to the core at EAA, that would rather whittle a cowling out of a Coke bottle for their model airplane or build their own. I'm just going to say it. Aviators are cheap. I mean, cheap to a fault. So when you throw out there that, hey, this private company is going to start billing you for your landing at this public use airport, I mean, that raises the dander up pretty quick, doesn't it?
Well, it does, and the cheap element is certainly not false. I'm one of them.
Well, we all are, but
Yeah.
the point being, don't just focus on what you're hearing that makes you emotional. Let's look in the wings, and that's why you're so critical, because you've got your eye on the ball.
Well, what the outfall of that will be if it really takes hold, and it's already showing some signs of having taken hold in some respects, it'll alter decision making in a very bad way. You'll have pilots that are making decisions and planning their flights in a way that is not optimum. You're going to pass up perfectly good airports. You're going to pass up better weather. You're going to elect to shoot an instrument approach, do a lower ceiling or lower visibility, because you're doing it in an airport that does not have a landing fee.
Yeah, just to save the $14.50 or whatever they're going to charge.
The amount. Look, I've actually been out on tour with Doc, and I've seen the landing fee come back on that of over $1,000, and that's after Doc was invited to attend an event at the airport.
Well, this is the private company.
Yeah, this is Vector, the private company. And it just leaves a bad taste in your mouth, no matter how you look at it, from an aspect of how it affects decision making and how it drives outcomes. Look, airports need to generate revenue. We fully understand that. We fully embrace that. There are good ways to do that. Landing fees is not one of them.
Yeah.
Fuel flowage fee, have at it. It's a great way. It's equity. It's divided appropriately. Everyone pays their fair share. No one argues about it.
So what are we missing? I mean, we all get wrapped up about this stuff. What should we really be getting wrapped up about and supporting EAA and everything that you do around? What do we need to be focused on, Sean?
Well, for us right now, there's a real challenge ahead as far as the overall viewpoint of the legacy fleet. When you look at what we're paying today and the rising prices and just what it costs to maintain a general aviation airplane that's in some cases 50, 60, 70 years old.
Right.
It's a challenge, and it's becoming worse, and we have to find reforms that will help minimize those costs going up and maximize the opportunity to continue to maintain the airplanes in the safest way possible. Like I just kind of described about landing fees, the more we get ourselves in an environment where price becomes astronomical and drives availability also from a PMA parts perspective. If you look, lately, what's the wait time to get a replacement component for a Lycoming or a Continental? It can be really a long time. That's a real problem. That is driving decision making. That is driving unsafe habit patterns that we don't need in GA. It's not good for us.
And there are things like primary category, for example, that are out there that's this under-discussed loophole for the guy flying a 1959 Cessna 172.
There are. It's certainly underutilized and not very well understood. We also believe that there's some possibilities of some meaningful reforms in the legacy fleet, particularly on the aircraft certification side and how we enable maintainability. And we're taking that on. We're going to look at that as our next big strategy and what we might be able to impact.
That's pretty exciting. Well, and
it's
you've
going to
got
take
a
time.
great team.
Mosaic took 10 years.
Okay.
So it doesn't happen fast.
Yeah.
But it is something that is definitely important to the organization and our members, which, by the way, now we're 330,000 members. I think we're the largest GA organization sitting around right now.
The largest of the alphabet groups. That's
Yeah.
the industry term you hear thrown around. And
Yep.
Well, and there is a lot that EAA does that people don't realize.
True.
You're not just writing letters. You have the relationships. You have the pull. And you have this thing called AirVenture that happens every single year.
Huge. AirVenture and the the dynamics that it brings with it. It's the full breadth of general aviation. Nowhere else can you see from end to end of the spectrum what GA truly is all about. AirVenture really does put it all in one location for 1 week.
Yeah.
And we leverage that. I mean, that is a huge part of our advocacy efforts. And, how we interact with the various parts of the agency, the way we expose them to different parts of AirVenture, the way we tell the story of what we're trying to accomplish through various elements within AirVenture, it's tremendously impactful.
Absolutely it is, and it's the only place you can go and do that for a week. It's not an air show. I've said this before. It's kind of a cross between a church picnic and a group with all your friends, and then there's this incredible brotherhood and sisterhood that comes out of this thing, where it's like Brigadoon. It comes out of the fog for 1 week a year in the summer, like I said with Kristen, and then we're there, and then it goes away. But that spirit lingers the whole year.
It's a city. I mean,
It
for
is a
1
city.
week, it's a city unto itself.
It's a community. I'll go a step further with these relationships.
I agree. And Paul Poberezny always said this best. I heard him say it over and over again. It's the airplanes that bring you the first time. It's the people that keep you coming back.
That's right. They bring you back.
Yeah, it really is true. You have lifelong friendships that are made at AirVenture and maintained throughout the years. You've got various communities of people that have always,
Right.
camped together, spent time together, volunteered together. We have 5,000 plus volunteers that make this event happen. Would not happen without them. The volunteers, they own this event.
Yeah.
We're just there to stay out of their way.
Well, that's
and
the best part.
Make it happen.
That's the charm that happens. And I think when you realize that all of these folks are pulling for the same thing to happen in the same direction, that this idea of real, not only grassroots aviation, but advocacy comes forward. Is that what we're seeing today? Is that where we need to focus on this? If we're really concerned with these things, what can the average person do? Because I know I've sent a lot of letters to senators where you click on the link and supposedly it gets to them and that's going to help. What can we really do that helps move the needle?
Be involved. Certainly AirVenture is a great centralized gathering once a year, but be involved at your local level. Be involved with your
But
flying.
how? Like, give me what do I need to do in Carrollton, Georgia?
EA chapters, flying clubs, various groups that get together and have that core central passion of wanting to be part of aviation. Boots on the ground. Being a steward in your area the way we are with AirVenture, to help your local community understand why general aviation is important, why it's impactful, and why it's good to have in their neighborhood.
So do we need to be inviting our congressmen and our representatives to our meetings and saying...
Absolutely. Your local city officials.
Because I've never done that before. I think that's a great idea.
Yep, it absolutely makes a difference. The more you can help shine that positive light, it's there. All we have to do is turn the light on.
County commissioners, anybody.
Absolutely. Oversight of the airport, if there's a committee or a county board supervisors or whatever the entity that has airport oversight, local and state and federal politicians all benefit from being exposed to what we do in general aviation.
Let's talk about some of the education outreach that you're doing too, because that's a big thing. We've heard it from NWAC here, and Aero Educate's a big part of that EAA offers. Is there something else that I'm missing on that needs to have a light shown on it here?
Sure. I mean, we've got so many different tentacles around education, particularly youth education, starting with a program called Young Eagles that I think everyone's familiar with. That was spun up in 1993, and it's still going very strong. We've now flown over 2.5 million kids and exposed them to why aviation is so cool. Countless numbers of pilots, mechanics, avionics technicians, name your profession has resulted from that program. We continue to have a heavy involvement in youth education. Our Aero Educate programs, combined with our new Youth Education and Pilot Proficiency Center at Oshkosh, where we're basically incubating great fundamental concepts and helping spread those across the country. We have our Race Scholars program, where we're basically...
we've had 2 of those at our chapter this year.
It's so popular. Popular how many kids have come up and really shown themselves to be qualified and a worthy recipient of those programs, and their private pilot certificates fully funded.
Isn't that incredible? I mean, it's such a gift. I would like to say I'm looking forward to maybe the Sean and Tom School of Aviation Advocacy at the EAA level for chapters. I mean, do we have any tools like that are available?
Yeah, we do. We
So
do
we
a
wanna
pretty
invite these
extensive segment at our chapter leadership workshops. So
Okay.
if your chapter hasn't participated in those, definitely look into that. They're held primarily in Oshkosh, but also other parts of the country throughout the year. And we do a pretty long segment on our advocacy efforts to make sure
About
our chapters...
how to invite these people and how to get them involved.
Yeah, and what the key issues are and what EA's position is, and hearing some of the feedback of our chapter leaders from their perspectives. It's a very interactive and dynamic session, so it's a good part of the chapter leadership workshop series.
And we're going to hear the fuel discussion today.
We are with Darren.
That was a big thing last year. I remember at one point it was going really well, and then I heard something about, well, it eats the paint off the bottom of my plane, and then you're like, oh gosh, here we go. Whatever the argument is, have we moved the needle on that? Is that something that you're tracking?
Oh yeah, we're heavily involved with it, and certainly there has been progress, but there's no final answer yet.
But it's a new product. I mean, people have to understand this. So I just use that as one example. That's not that's neither here nor there, and who knows if it's even true. But but that's the stuff we're dealing with. So
the two main pillars that we're wrestling with, and it's obviously from a chemistry level much higher above you or I.
We need Vicky Benzing here to discuss it with us.
Exactly. But the reality is you got two main pillars. You've got the materials compatibility issue, where it might be great for the engine, it might not cause detonation, it might run well, it might do all the things it needs to do as a chemical compound to provide that energy to run a internal combustion engine, but it doesn't work well with other materials in the airplane. And you might have the opposite of that, where it works great with the materials in the airplane, but there are mechanical issues with the engine. It's detonating in certain conditions.
And you're talking about all airplanes. Tube and fabric, fiberglass, aluminum,
radial
wood.
engines, V12s. Hey, I fly B-29 Doc, as you mentioned, and that 3350. We don't want to lose that ability to fly those airplanes. They're too important. So the fuels have to work all the way up through even that level of an engine.
Yeah, that's a big problem. I appreciate you sitting down. In the last 3 minutes, I know everybody's wanting to know this, maybe an update. You got the B-25 going. What's going to happen with the B-17? Is there a long-term plan? There is, and it's going to take time. And time and money, right?
Good time, both. Yes. The spar tubes have finally been sourced. We need to replace all 8 spar tubes. They're 22-foot long, rectangular tube sections of the wing. That very unique process for building them. Boeing back in the mid-30s basically extruded them into a square with an internal taper. So we've had a heck of a time finding a manufacturer that can figure out how to make those in an extruded fashion. And as we talked about earlier here at NWAC, from a parts eligibility standpoint, you have to replicate the exact process that the manufacturer used to make them originally, that's specified in the drawings, in order for them to be qualified as an actual replacement part.
And it sounds like there's been some movement for the other airplanes.
There have. Yeah. So there's been a forgery, ironically, in all places, Germany, that Ericsson and Jim Martinelli, who's leading that up at Ericsson, has developed a relationship. They've already built a set successfully, and they are tooling up to build another series of sets. And there's several operators that have chimed in, including us, saying, we're one of them. We're in. We want to build a set of tubes. So Jim is working on finalizing that order. So if you're a B-17 operator and you hadn't heard of this, reach out to Jim Martinelli and get in that order, because the more orders, the lower the price.
My main concern...
I don't know if this company is going to keep doing it. I mean, they have to take up a pretty significant amount of floor space and use very specialized machinery when they set this process up. And there's rumor that when they do this next set,
that's it.
When they're building however many sets, 4, 5, 6 sets, that's it. They're going to take that floor space back and put it to work for more modern equipment.
My main concern is that if EAA doesn't act now, Chris Henry is going to live in the B-17 forever. We're never going to get him out of there. You know what I mean?
True statement.
I mean, there's never a guy that loves that airplane more than Chris.
We'll bring him food. It's okay.
Well, just Chris, open the bomb bay. Yeah, that's where we're at. Well, thanks for sitting down with us. It's a pleasure, Sean.
Matt, always a pleasure to sit down with you, sir.
That's been the EAA episode here from the National Warbird Operators Conference in chilly Virginia Beach. Make your plans now to attend next year. We'll be back with more as Season 17 for 2026 continues.
This is WARBIRD Radio.